Hello, I'm Martin Fencka and welcome to the first episode of Let's Try Gordian Quest. So Gordian Quest is an early access game that I discovered recently on Steam, let's say like a week ago, and since then I managed to sink around 30 hours into it. I still keep playing it, I still have fun with it, so I decided to record a short series about the game, show it to you as something that might be worth keeping an eye on if you like these kind of games. When I say these kind of games, how would I describe Gordian Quest in short? I think the best description would be an RPG with card-based combat, a little bit like Slay the Spire with the story, but not just the story, it has all of the elements of an RPG would expect. Exploration, character development, gearing, I don't know, all of these mechanics that you would expect in every RPG game. And on top of that, of course, you have the card-based combat, so deck building is a large part of the game. I think for an introduction of the game, this will be enough. Now I'll let the game talk for a little bit. Maybe before that, I should say, as usual, it's the first episode of a new series, so it will be more like an introduction. There'll be more talking than in the future episodes. I'll try to talk a little bit about some of the basic mechanics. So if you already know the game, maybe the first episode will be a bit boring for you, but we will just dive into the game from the next episode and just play from there. Okay, so let's start with prologue, because it's an RPG, there is a story, and I don't want you to miss anything, so I'll show that to you. I should probably say that maybe you should lower your volume a little bit. I don't think I can change the volume for prologue, just for prologue in the game. It might be a bit too loud, so just in case, please lower your volume a little bit. Don't want to blow your ears.
Many moons ago, Varendia was once a sprawling mass of land with bountiful resources, inhabited by both Vanai and man. The Vanai, relentless and greedy in their quest for knowledge, drew upon these resources to experiment with powers far beyond their understanding. Angered by their arrogance, the gods banished them and shattered Varendia into pieces, marring each with a different curse. Vanai faded from history, and man was left to inherit the punishment. Centuries of chaos and fright ensued, and from the darkness, heroes were forged. You are one of the few willing to brave the unforgiving threats of each region in search of a cure for Varendia's curses. Your adventure begins in Westmeyer, a region slowly crumbling under the rift, an unholy gateway to the nether realm. You will need to challenge and defeat the Rift Lord to purge Westmeyer of its curse. Should you survive, remember that it's just the first of many cursed regions. Your quest is far from over. Your journey will be fraught with peril, but you will have might and magic on your side. The nights will be cold, but your trusted companions will keep you warm. Your enemies will be strong, but in time, you can grow stronger. Now, gather your wits and steel your courage. Your Gordian Quest is about to begin.
Okay, so that was the prologue. Now I think we can jump into the game with the new campaign, of course, except first we have to pick the act. Only Act 1 is available so far, with Act 2 coming really soon. There are already some information on Steam about it, so hopefully it's going to be like a month or two maximum. Really can't wait. I want to see more from this game. No information about Act 3 or 4, but the developers seem to be quite active, so even though it's an early access, I'm not really like afraid so far from what I've seen that the game wouldn't get finished. Okay, let's read the description about where we are going. Trouble in Westmeyer, Silverkeep, a town situated on the far isolated western reaches of the world. Its quiet existence is now threatened by the undead rising in droves against the living. Come to Silverkeep's defense and uncover a treacherous plot that will spawn Westmeyer and the other continents. Okay, well, sure, let's fight some undead. Next. Now we have to pick like the main hero. There are 6 classes. First one is like a warrior. This is a paladin, cleric, something along those lines. Then we have a ranger, a scoundrel, rogue, something like that. Then we have a mage, and then we have a druid. We start by picking one of them, but we'll be playing as a 3-man group, so we will have access to 3 of these classes. We'll be able to choose which ones you want to play, and as you are playing you can even switch characters if someone dies or if you just are not happy with the class. But because you are leveling up only characters that you are using, it's best to focus on only 3 of them and then maybe play again with different ones. And there is a reason to play the game again, because when you start for the first time, let's see, do I have a character without renown? I have only 1 renown. You are starting with 0. But when you complete, or as you play the game with the character, it's getting a renown. Always when you like progress through the main quest line, you get some renown. Of course, when you start for the first time, all your characters have 0. And what you can do with renown is invest into some starting bonuses, and more importantly, you are getting access to some subclasses. I didn't test druid too much, so I don't have any subclasses open, but when we check, for example, the scoundrel, you can see that I have all 4 options available. And as I choose different ones, you can see that the composition of the starting deck is different. So I think I will go with the rogue. And I think I will use Alphonse, the scoundrel, as our main character here. We could also pick some bonuses. I don't think I want to do that. I think we can easily... hopefully can easily finish the game without it. I just don't understand this really, because why would I want some bonuses when I was already able to finish the game without them before? But it's available if you want to add something. You have the option. The more renown you have, the more bonuses you can take. Maybe on higher difficulties. It's meant the way that you finish the game on easier difficulty. As you progress to higher difficulties, you will need these bonuses. The highest difficulty is not available yet, so I can't say if it's going to be needed or not. But for now, I really didn't feel the need that I would like have to take these renown bonuses. Okay, so let's take Alphonse. And now here we have to take difficulty. Actually 2 different types of difficulty. So first of all, easy, normal, hard. We'll be playing hard for veteran players who want a great challenge and to be kept on their toes. 15% increased item variety globally. Heroes start with 25% less hit points. Enemies have access to stronger abilities. So what you would expect then, as I said, the highest difficulty is still locked. I hope they will add it with the second act, because I'd really like to see how that's gonna look like. On hard, it's not a joke, but it's definitely not like really difficult. You can get through the game, as I said, without any of those bonuses. And I basically finished it on my first attempt. It wasn't that difficult, but I also have like 30 years experience with the card games, so maybe that helped me a little bit. And then we have to choose the mode. So classic mode, you will revive in town upon being defeated in battle. Roguelite mode, if your entire party is defeated in battle, your run ends. And then we have roguelike mode. Heroes cannot be resurrected at the sanctuary upon death. If your entire party is defeated in battle, your run ends. I should also say that you don't have the option to save and load the game like multiple times. You have one autosave that's always rewritten after every action. So no like save, load, cheating, nothing like that. When you screw up, you are starting again. And if you don't have the option to resurrect your characters, you have to be careful a little bit. Okay, so hard, roguelike. Actually, let me double check that. Of course, I didn't take Alphonse, rogue. Yep, that's what I want. Hard, roguelike. Next, skip prologue. Actually, I don't think so. Let's just go through the prologue as well. There's a little bit of a story, I think, as well, or maybe some mechanic explanation. You there. You were with the soldiers that came in from the south. With me, the undead ahead look like nasty ones. We'll push through this group and regroup with Captain Rhetoric and his men in the garrison. If you're handy with that weapon of yours, now would be a good time to use it. So, it's just the first fight to really see what's going on. We have a deck of cards. We started with certain amount that can change as you are getting like access to items that can affect that. You have 3 action points. Here you have the cost of the card, so in this case it's 1 for each card. Here is your deck, so we have 6 more cards in the deck. Discard, expand pile. So there are certain cards that can be used only once per combat that go into expand pile. Normal cards go into discard pile when you run out of cards. It's reshuffled, and you just keep going until you win or lose the fight. From what we have in hand so far, we have parry, gain 5 guard. Guard is a shield that mitigates damage, so you get, in the case of parry, 5 guard. You get hit for a certain amount. If it's 5 or less, it doesn't affect your hit points. If it's more, then the extra damage goes through to your hit points that we have here. Then we have stab, which deals damage based on how many cards we played before stab. So you want to play stab last, then you do more damage. And it's like our main damage source later, because we of course want to build a combo deck that builds or that plays as many cheap cards as possible and then finishes with like a massive stab. Then we have puncture, deals damage, applies bleed and pierce. We have the description of how these debuffs work. Lose 2 hit points for every action point used, last for X turns. So for 2 turns, we will activate bleed debuff on the target that gets hit by puncture, and every time that character uses action point for anything, it doesn't have to be for a card. If you move on the map, you also need action points. So when it uses action point, it loses hit points. Then piercing removes 3 armor on target before damage is applied. So just deals more damage to armor, basically. Okay, fine. How do we start? I think we start with the puncture. Now we want to use parry. For the first combat, the game really is helping a lot. Just says first use attack, then activate parry. Now you can do whatever you want. Now we can do damage. We played 2 cards this turn, so stab does 3 plus 3 for every played card, so it will be 9 damage. That finishes off the first zombie. And we just ran out of action points, so we end the turn. Now it's time for the AI. The zombie decided to attack the NPC. Nice one. I must admit I took you for an amateur. But now we might survive this one just yet. By my side, let's take them down together. Yeah, I don't think I really need help here. Okay, one thing that you can check when you mouse over the enemy, the game will always show you what they're planning to do, so you can adjust to that. I'm not sure if this mechanic is really necessary when you even know what the AI wants to do. I'm actually not using it, or very rarely. I never felt the need to use it. I'm just saying it's there. So in like very complicated situations, this could help you, or it does help you decide if you want to be more aggressive or if you want to just purely focus on defense. And we get quite unlucky here, actually. 6 damage, apply enfeeble, close range. Okay, well, in this case, I am actually gonna take advantage of that information, because I can't do enough damage with just throwing daggers. And 5 guard wouldn't be enough. I'll tell you or show you once we are done with this combat why I don't want to take damage. So throw is free. Let's use all. And you might have noticed that on throw there was a word immutable, which means the damage can't be changed. That's why I didn't use observe for its critical damage. Critical, when we gain critical damage, we deal extra damage with the next attack. But cards immutable don't get the bonus. So there was no reason to use it. Now we won't use parry just because we can. And now we can use observe because that critical will be capped for next turn, I think. And there is the attack. And as you can see, we still have that crit. 4 damage, so it doesn't really matter what we do. Just finish the combat. Well fought. Let's get a move on before more of them come. The Garrison is just up ahead. There we go. Okay, so after every victory you get experience. You get experience based on like the difficulty of the combat, how many enemies there were. Then you get experience that's different for every character that's in combat based on how many kills that character got in the combat. And then if you didn't take any, or if you didn't lose any hit points, you get the flawless bonus. So we want to win as many fights as possible without taking any damage to your hit points. If you activate the guard and you take damage just into guard, it doesn't matter. If you take damage into hit points and you heal that damage after that during the fight, so you still are at maximum at the end of the fight, it doesn't work. You don't get the flawless bonus. You really can't lose a single hit point during combat. Even if you heal it later, you still wouldn't get the flawless. And then we get loot, a little bit of gold. Then we have grants ready for battle. So these iron graves that add a card to our deck, which we don't want. And here we are. Act 1, Trouble in Westmeyer. So, this is the city that we'll be using as our base of operation. So far it's pretty empty, but it will fill up quickly. So first let's talk to this guy, the officer Erin. Welcome to the Garrison. It isn't much, but it will have to do on such short notice. Where are my manners? I'm Officer Erin of the Town's Guard. Wish we had met under better circumstances, naturally. This here is our guild hall. We have converted it to house survivors like yourself. So make yourself at home. In the meantime, you should speak with Captain Rhetoric. He is in charge around here. Okay, Captain Rhetoric is here. Captain, we have a scoundrel with us. Pretty handy with his daggers, from what I've seen. It is Officer Erin. And greetings, traveler. Your arrival to our fair city couldn't have come at a worse time. The undead curse that lay on this land has been a thorn in our side for centuries, but an attack of this magnitude, unheard of. Fall magic has disabled the waypoints as well. Smells like the work of enemy action, if you ask me. Indeed, officer. Anyway, Captain Roderick's the name. I'm in charge of this garrison. We have already evacuated the civilians to High Home before the incident with the waypoint, so it's just the battle essential personnel here. The situation's dire. We've got our hands full tending to the injured, so I urge you to help my men push back the undead in the immediate area. The dead outnumber us 3-1 out there. My most pressing concern now is the garrison storehouse up north. It's been overtaken by local gangs, but if you can wrestle control back from them, it would greatly help defense effort. Leave it to us, sir. We've got a good feeling about this one. I've got a good feeling about this one. Godspeed, and keep your wits about you out there. Before we leave, let's see if you can recruit help from the guild hall. Things will go a lot smoother with another pair of hands. So, as you can see, we now have more characters in the city. Let's visit Guild Hall first. And once we are done recruiting, then we'll check how the inventory looks like, how the gearing looks like, some of the basic stats, things like that. So what are our options? The guild hall is wide and airy, originally designed to accommodate crowds for the town's festivities. Now it is a temporary refuge for sullen-faced adventurers nursing all manners of injuries, most shrieking away as you approach, unwilling to head back out. You're about to ride off finding a hire when you run into a fellow adventurer. So, which adventurer do you run into? Either the cleric, the spellbinder, or the mercenary. I will go with Lucius because for a rogue I want the front line. So let's take him. Lucius the sword and crackles his knuckles. I arrived a few hours earlier with the first wave of survivors, helped out where I can, but I'll be much more helpful out there with my sword. You could definitely use a warrior of his caliber. We'll leave the guild hall, new companion into humble beginnings, but the beginning nonetheless. There we go. So now we have another character. We have room for one more. Let's talk to Sister Ophelia. By the light, you look like you've seen better days. I will do what I can to heal your wounds, but anything beyond that, well, resources are strained at the moment as we fend off the undead. Please do what you can to protect the innocent here. If necessary, return to the sanctuary for further healing. Light guide you, traveler. Okay, so this is the temple where we can heal and give alms, which we're gonna be doing quite often because that gives us faith, and faith is a pretty useful resource as it allows us to re-roll options during events or while we are leveling. When you get into an event, there is a dice roll that like decides the outcome, and if you don't like it, you can spend faith to roll again, or when you get a level up, you can choose from 3 cards which one you add into your deck, and if you don't like any of those options, you can use fate to re-roll and get 3 different cards. So a pretty important resource. We get 1 point per character in the party, so when we get our 3rd recruit, we'll have 3 fate available. And we want to always have some fate. Supplies, we won't need that for a while, because for some time we'll be only operating around the city, but once we get outside of the city walls, we will need supplies to survive basically in the wilderness, and then gold. I don't think I have to talk about that too much. What can we buy here? Here we can buy some pots, so healing. This is action point recovery during combat, so we can play more cards. And here we have when used in battle, adds grit. Oh, okay, so in battle this gives us card that allows us to heal, and outside battle it heals 2 hit points. Anything else? I don't think so. And the last one June the Blacksmith. So let's check what we can get here. So it's a shop for some basic items. As you can see, each item has some cards attached to it. I just noticed we are pretty lucky as we can get leather tunic right from the start. This is maybe one of the most important items in the game, specifically the leather tunic, because it's the only armor that adds surge, and getting extra action points is just so important. I'm gonna buy it. Purchase. I don't think I really care about anything else. No. Then we can of course sell items here. I'm gonna sell the iron graves as I'm not gonna be using them. And we can also talk with every character in the city. It's not much, but at least a little bit, as it's the first playthrough. I'm gonna check the every conversation option. Hey there, I'm June, resident blacksmith at your service. Granted, it doesn't look like much, but it's the best we can do until something's done about the undead out there. Undead attack, they came from nowhere and without warning. Look, I'm pretty handy with the hammer, but those things, they were vicious. I'm just glad to have made it here alive. And then we have weapons. Great questions, but absolutely wrong person. I'll leave that problem to the adults in the room. Maybe talk to Wine, who we don't have in the town yet. If you see her around, she's the brainiac around here. So you can see it's not much, but here and there you get some useful information. Can we talk here? No. And can we talk here? Yes. So, I'm Ophelia, High Priestess of the Order. The Order consists of different groups with various functions, but we all act together to become the sword and shield of the common people. With the left palm, we share our teachings with those who will listen and provide our medicinal services to those who are in need. With the right fist, we upkeep the law and maintain justice. Undead attack. It happened all too suddenly. I lost a good many of my brothers and sisters in the attack, and if it were not for the captain's quick response, I would not be here as well. This fort is home until someone can figure out what exactly is going on and put an end to it. Captain Roderick, while I'm in charge of domestic matters in the fort, I must put my faith in the captain and his men to keep us safe. And the waypoint, strange magic is afoot, far beyond our understanding. No known magic is powerful enough to hinder the waypoint's function, that much I know. However, my duties keep me too busy to investigate further. The number of wounded soldiers keeps rising. Anyone else? These soldiers don't tell us anything. Then we have this gravedigger that's not gonna help us either. Another soldier is not gonna tell us anything. And what about Rhetoric? We can talk with him. I'm Rhetoric Captain. If you are being formal, except formalities won't mean a thing if we don't get out of this alive. My job is to keep the survivors out there breathing as long as possible. Just maybe you'll buy enough time to figure out a way out of this. I'll need you to be my eyes and ears out there to stay sharp. It happened out of the blue. They came pouring out from the ground in droves, and there was just too many to deal with. I sent my men to curl up as many survivors we could find to form a safe zone here. We got most of the women and children out before the waypoint sputtered out at least. We need to get to the bottom of this, and fast. And the repairs. It's nothing fit for royalty, but I'll have to do. It will have to do for now. In a short while, we'll have the forge up and running for service work in a bit, and mattresses in the inn if you need a place to rest. Okay, so now I think we talked with everyone in the city who we could talk to, and let's finally check how our inventory looks like. So, this is pretty simple. You get items, put them into correct slots, and each type of item has different cards attached to it, so you're just looking for the combination that fits best to the deck that you are trying to build. And then you have your statistics that affect, let's say, the numbers on cards during combat. You have three main stats. You have strength that affects red cards. Then you have dexterity. You can just read the whole description if you want. That mainly affects the damage on green cards. And then you have intelligence, which affects blue cards. Then what else? Exhaustion. We won't really need this until we get out of the city, so I think I'll just ignore it. You can read the description, but it's not going to be important for a while. Then we have resistances. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Maximum not hand size, but how many cards we draw. Cards retained per turn. This means that at the end of turn we always discard all cards. We don't keep any. And max channel charges. It's for specific builds, most like mages. You are using cards with channel to get a discount on cards that have channeled. As we are not going to be playing these cards, we can ignore the charges completely. Then we have hit points, nothing difficult there. Action points, how many basically cards we can play. This is the action point cost on every card. And then we have initiative, which decides the turn order. What I've noticed is that in every combat, you go first and then the AI. So I think it's like fixed that every time your characters go first, actually maybe not. I'm just thinking about it that in some cases when I get a significant initiative debuff, the AI was faster than me. So it seems that the AI characters have really low initiative. So in 99% of the cases you go first. So this is important just to decide which of your character goes first. Sometimes you want a character to first buff up all your other characters, so you want that character to go first, but it's not like super important most of the time. Here we have a level, experience bar, and the formation, maybe the last thing. This just decides in which row the character starts the fight. It decides the row, which is this one. It doesn't decide the lane. Lanes are from like east to west. So when you, for example, start in the mid row, you can start in any of these three positions. Anything else? That's the start the deck. And then we can check. Oh, we have talents. Talents decide, for example, what kind of armor the character can use, what type of weapons. So here we have alert, ignore initiative, penalty when ambushed. Dual wield mastery, can equip a weapon in offhand. +2 bonus to stealth test, can use daggers and swords, can use medium armor when we compare it to Lucius. Can use maces and flails, can use heavy armor. When you have a mage, for example, then you have the option to use staves and light armor, that kind of stuff. Equipment, just items that we are not using. That reminds me, I probably want to give Surge to although maybe not Alphonse. Let me check the deck. No, I think I want to give it to Alphonse. Then we have resources. Here that's where we are holding the gold and all the kind of stuff. Okay, anything else? I think to show you the skill tree, I will need to get a level up, so we'll have to wait for that. Here we have our quests, and now we can get out of the city and finally start fighting. So ready to head out. We'll have to loop around the garrison to get the storehouse. Steady as we go. If things start getting too tough, we should head back to Sister Ophelia for healing. As long as we are within the city walls, we can basically at any time return to the city and get a heal. Once we get outside of the walls, we have to keep an eye on the supplies. So the start is made easier by the fact that in between fights you can always heal, or almost always. Once you get out of the city, it's getting a bit more difficult there. Okay, when you get on the, let's say, world map, you will see these nodes that are connected by lines. So you can only follow the lines when you want to move. So we can't go directly to the final location. We have to go all the way around. And every time you click on the node, you get a description. For now, we will only get some text. First one, Restless Dead. Quest location: an undead horde marches upon Silver Keep. Captain Rhetoric and his men have set up a garrison in the city center and are preparing a counterattack. Aid the effort by taking out the stragglers in the area. But later we will get like information about what type of enemies there is, and also there could be modifiers to these zones. For example, enemies have a higher level in this zone, or you get more gold if you clear the area. So you can how should I describe it? You have the option to visit nodes on the map that add modifiers to the combat nodes on the map, so you can adjust the difficulty to fights. You can make them more difficult to get better rewards if you want. That's probably what I'm trying to say. But let's finally start moving. These early fights should be pretty easy. I'd be very disappointed if we took damage somewhere. So, let's start with... no, not with stab. We have double stab, we have parry, we have throwing dagger. Surge won't be the most useful card for a while, but it's at least one more card that we can always play to make stabs stronger. So I'll just use parry, because why not? Throwing dagger, surge, to use as many cards as possible. And before we start stabbing, we played 3 cards and stab, so it was 12 damage. And then I can probably play here, so that I don't waste 7 damage on this zombie. Here is the turn order. You can even check what the enemies have in hand. And when you mouse over them, you can see what they're planning to do. So we don't really have to worry that much. Just want to kill this one, then we are fine. And turn now. Lucius. So, Lucius, we already know parry. Then we have slash. Just a very basic attack, nothing difficult there. And guard is like a parry on steroids, gives a little bit more guard and draws a card. Any card that draws a card or gives you extra action points is really strong. So this is one of the better cards, but eventually we'll probably want to get rid of it. And then we have Keen Strike, which does quite a lot of damage for just 1 action point. It gives 2 critical, so for next attack we do more damage, and has Opener, which is a pretty powerful effect. When played, the action point cost of a non-opener in hand is reduced by 1. So when we play Keen Strike, if you play it as the first card, one of these 3 cards will be 1 action point cheaper, so it's gonna be free. It has to be a non-opener, so it can't make the other Keen Strike cheaper. So where do we start? We can do 11. So with that, that's 7. I guess we go kill this one. See, parry is now cheaper. Let's use it. Keen Strike. And because I had critical, I did more damage, so I was able to get the kill. I can draw another card for free then, and because I have... I don't have to worry about my defense, I can just attack as the last card. Then this guy has like a passive ability. When another character in his line attacks, he attacks with him. It just once per turn, but that's why he attacked. Later, you can get cards like that into your own deck so that your characters like support each other. You'll need a few levels for a rogue to really start working as he's supposed to. But once he gets going, it sometimes gets a bit ridiculous with what you can get out of stabs. So as you can see, we didn't take any damage, so we are getting the flawless bonus. And some last hit bonuses, and the base experience is the same for both. So this is the overall amount that we got from the fight. Continue, here's our loot, and we get the second leather tunic. That's an incredible start. Last time I played, I wasn't able to get a single leather tunic until I was like almost done basically with the game. So we're gonna use it right away. We just need one more. I want to have leather tunic for all my characters. They're just so strong. Sergius is unbelievably strong. For nothing to get 2 action points is just great. And by the way, when I'm talking about cards, one thing that I forgot to mention. This is the basic version of a card. As you are leveling up, you'll get the option to... Actually, I can't show it here, but I should be able to show it here. You will get the option to master the card, and you'll get the stronger version. So when we master Surge, for example, it won't be giving 2 action points, but it will be giving 3 action points. And there is a mastered version for every card. When we take Stab, for example, that's what we want to master first on our rogue. Stab is free when it's mastered, and that's where it's getting really, really insane, when you have all your stabs free. Okay, keep going. Just more undead. So we can check what they want to do. Attack frontline, attack frontline, attack frontline. So we want to kill at least one, and we do want some shielding this time. We can ignore this skeleton. Again, the start is kind of bad. I was still 15 damage in the end from the stab. How much damage is this, by the way? 5. Okay, how does it look like? So we want to start with the parry to make sure we get what we need. Then we can do 7 damage here. I might be able to actually finish this one, because now I can go actually Surge. Now I go Keen Strike, and I will have double slash free with the critical. Actually, even without the critical, I would be able to get the kill. So that's gonna be 20 damage. Now we finish up the other skeleton. Now we should get a level up, which is the last thing that I want to show in the first episode. Okay, there we go. First level up. Once again, I've managed to do it without taking any damage. Continue now. Plate armor really is not that important. Sometimes if you want to make a tanky cleric, this one is quite useful, but not for what I'm planning. I should probably use some of the potions and equip this one. Good. And now level ups. So skill tree doesn't look that impressive, but as we level up, every 5 points that we or every time we spend 5 points on the square, we get another square like this generated that can be added to one side. As you can see, these nodes are connected by lines, and these lines continue outside. So you are basically generating your own skill tree. And of course, based on the icons on the nodes, does different things. For what is this? Alphonse. So we want, or with the specialization that we picked from the start, we are mostly getting subterfuge cards, some assassin, which we are interested in, and then we have the option to remove cards from our deck. And then we have the option to master our cards. That's where we want to get as soon as possible. And we want to get as many mastery nodes as possible. Then we can get a new talent. That's the the option to like use different type of armor or different types of weapons. It's not super important. We can get extra hit points. We can get extra initiative, I think. And this, the last one is from sabotage, which is like a different specialization that we are not really that interested in. Okay, because I wanted mastery, I will go this way. I would like to get assassin. I really would, but mastery is more important. We need the discount on stabs. Okay, what did we get? Adversary deal 8 damage, apply blind 2. Not really that interested. On your next attack, for every hit dealt, apply bleed. Nope. I want to have my deck as consistent as possible, so I'll try to keep the deck size low and only use cards that are like necessary for the combo I'm trying to build. I could go with throwing dagger. That would be a 4th one though, so I maybe should wait with that. And the last option is, well, we have either option to redraw these cards if we use Fate, or we can, instead of picking new card, we can choose to replace a card. And that's what I'm gonna go with. Replace a skill. I don't need Fate for that. Now, I can get rid, or I can pick my card that I don't want, and I will get to pick from 3 cards that I want to replace it with. I don't want Observe. It's nice to get the bonus, but most of our damage cards are immutable. So I don't really get much from critical most of the time. And again, it's not necessary for the combo that I'm trying to build, so I'm gonna get rid of it. And we get, well, 2 relevant options. Fate to the Shadow. We are looking for cards that... ideal combination is no cost and draw a card. That's like a great option. Or Hidden Blade, which costs 1, but also draws a card, gives critical. Only draw, or when it's an attack card, it is basically free. So, which one do I want? I think I'll get Fate from Shadow, or Fate to Shadows from my boots eventually. And I don't want to have more than 1, I think. Maybe 2, but I'm not sure about that. But I think I could use Hidden Blade. Let me check the mastered version. That gives just more critical. Mastered version of Fate Shadow allows me to move a bit more freely. We can later just remove the card if we really need to, but of course that's not ideal. You know what, let's actually take Fate to Shadows. I just want to be able to play as many cards as possible. And now, every card that you put into your deck increases the base stat that's like corresponding to the color of the card. So green cards increase dexterity, blue ones intelligence, red ones strength. So that's another reason why I was replacing blue card, so that I can increase my dexterity and get the higher modifier so that we can do more damage. Again, this bonus doesn't apply to immutable cards, but we will be using some cards where it does apply, and we just want to find as much damage as possible. Learn. And I think... Come on, just keep going. Let's finish the first quest. This one should be a little bit more challenging, as we have the first, like a, let's say, a rare mob that has some like special effects. So Stone Wall, Retain Guard, and Retribution. Every turn it gets torn too. So the first time it gets hits, every turn it returns certain amount of damage, in this case 2. What are they gonna do? So it's gonna be attacking our rogue, this one will be attacking our front line, and this one will be doing a rush. Deal 3 damage to any frontmost target in line. So he's gonna be doing 3 damage here. The That means I most likely want to kill this skeleton to divide the damage. Stab, smoke bomb. Not sure if I'll even be able to do it. Well, I can just play all my cards. It's the best I can do. No. Because I'm standing in the shroud, I get 5 extra guard at the end of every turn. So we have 10 shielding. And then... didn't really draw that much. Actually, wait, here I have 2 more cards. 2 critical. Okay, let's finish this one. Now activate parry. Don't need the surge. Yeah, for a while, surge won't be super useful. It will actually make our deck worse for a while. But later it's going to be one of our best cards. So now we shouldn't take any damage. Oh, he moves this way. Okay, fine. And this one is shot. Good. So now he gets the thorns again. But because we have our NPC friend, he'll get rid of that. That's enough damage to kill this one. Now we can use Fate to the Shadow, hopefully draw some attack, which we did by just throwing daggers. So we can just activate all the parry and do a little bit of damage. Our next priority is getting our hands on the rings that give +1 damage to attacks. That's the only modifier that applies to immutable cards. So then we can increase the damage by 4 for every throwing dagger and every single proc of stab. So we won't be doing multiples of 3. We can do multiples of 7 in the end, which is a little bit better. What's he gonna do? Oh, use retaliation. Okay, what do we do? Attack. Parry. Make sure we do as much damage as possible. And guard. I could have just play the draw card first, hope that I draw what I have drawn in the end, but I think it was better to just make sure I play the double strike. Okay, I want to play the defense first, so that the thorns don't go through to hit points. We can play... Actually, we can move forward, so that I can play Fate to Shadows, draw another card. And now it's gonna be throwing dagger, just playing as many cards as possible before stab. And actually, I should have probably checked the amount of hit points. Again, managed to get through without taking any damage. I don't know why we got 180 here as the flawless bonus. Why is it more? Actually, no idea. Continue. Still don't want this type of boots. Just, I don't want Vigil. It makes Vigil 2, when it's active, means that the next guard cards are 30% stronger. That's not exactly what I want. I actually want to get rid of my guard cards. So you're gonna get rid of that, you're gonna sell it. You've certainly got a knack for staying alive. The Garrison should be a little safer now with your help. That leaves our main objective, the Garrison storehouse. It's right up ahead through the streets. We had to barricade it off from the Garrison when the bandits attacked. With luck, we'll be able to deal with them without too much trouble. We can go back now. I'm not sure what we would get there, but maybe I'll do it. And here. So, I would like to get the mastery, but I don't want leadership. I don't want to even touch it, so we all have to go around. We could go warrior. Mostly I would like to get swordsmanship. Though, can we start with the swordsmanship somewhere? I could go this way. Pick these two. Okay, let's go. Unlock. What do we got? Nothing I'm really interested in. Replace skill, and we want to get rid of... I want to get rid of red cards. Slash is just... doesn't do anything. I want to replace slash with something that draws me cards or reduces cost of cards. This doesn't really do anything. And also, it's giving me strength instead of dexterity. So these cards are not doing extra damage. Replace. There we go. Much better. Another keen strike. I'll definitely take that. And as you can see, we'll now get to +4 dexterity. Learn. Once again, I'm trying to keep the deck as consistent as possible. So rather than adding cards, I'm just replacing them, keeping the deck thin for now. Later, as we get more items, I'll start adding cards. But for now, it's too early. What was that reward? Or reward that... West? Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, I didn't think you'd get anything here. What the hell? For a moment, I think I saw... like a question mark or something that we can talk to someone. Fade the Shadows, another one. So that's one we want to get. Don't care about these boots. Don't care about healing. How much money do we? 189. Actually buy this one. Question is, do I need Fade to Shadows twice? Ah, sure. Oh, wait, it's not... I thought it was boots. Or boots, something that's equipped in the boot slot. It's actually headgear. Oh, there is a similar card that's called Shift. That comes from boots. I think I'm gonna keep these. I'm actually gonna disenchant them for crafting materials because later we can actually craft our gear. Let's finish this. Not sure that I'll be able to do the last one without taking damage. On the way to the storehouse, you pass by 3 soldiers nursing an assortment of injuries. They advise caution when dealing with the bandits. Front doors blockaded, and they'll have crossbows waiting for you if you get in, one of them says. Down the road, you arrive at the Garrison storehouse. A bandit peers out from the arrow slit on the 2nd floor. Scram, unless you've got that wish. He sneers before heading back inside. The front door doesn't budge when you push on it. It might give way with some force, but the earlier soldier's warning comes to mind. So we have 2 options. We can either force the door, but as you can see, our characters are not the strongest. I probably don't want to go with that option. Or we can search for another entry point, but our characters also don't have the, or are not the, well, not the smartest, don't have the highest perception, I think I should say in this case. So the chance also isn't great, but it's a little bit better. Let's go this way. You are now attempting a challenge, a test of your skill and luck. Picking an appropriate skill for the task and at hand will grant a higher bonus on your dice roll, but note that the skill you used will be exhausted until your next rest. Roll higher than the challenge difficulty to succeed. Remember, there are always consequences to failing the roll. So, the game... or actually, we can choose which character is gonna try. As you can see, both characters have the same chance. So we get a -1 modifier to the roll. And we need to roll 11, or we need to get 11 or higher to succeed. So with the modifier, we need to roll 12. You probably want to get some kind of a modifier. And here we see what are the results if we succeed or if we fail. Often clears the challenge, which means we would have to try the other option. So yeah, here we can choose one card from our deck that will help us here. The highest bonus is actually from the puncture. So we will use that. I want to get as much as possible. And now we only have to roll 9, which is still pretty bad odds. But, see, it was enough, so... from what I've learned so far, when you have like 65% or less, you want to throw in a card. Above 65, usually you are fine. Also, you want to read the options. Sometimes failing doesn't really mean that much. Alphonse got some extra experience, which is always useful. And now, actually, is there anything? No, the text starts here, the new text. So, your keen eye spot faint scuff marks on the far wall, likely made by steel-toed boots. On further inspection, you spot a few good handholds on an uneven patch of wall, which you could use to climb up to the storehouse roof. Officer Aaron assists you with a boost. Climb to the roof. On the rooftop, you fortuitously find an open hatch door and a ladder leading down into the storehouse. Inside, you spot 3 bandits on the lower floor. 2 of them have their crossbows trained on the front door. A large bandit, presumably their leader, is rummaging through the various supply crates. With the advantage of surprise, you estimate the officer Aaron and yourself could take out one set of them, but which one? Let's take out these guys first. I think I want to fight both of them separately. If I take out the bandit, I'm not sure that I'll actually get an actual fight. So, cautiously moving across the rafters, Officer Aaron waits for the signal. Both of you leap down, landing on one bandit each and knocking them out cold. Also, we won't get the fight. The third leader reacts quickly to the intrusion and battle is joined. Okay, so I'll only get one fight here. When you go through the front door, you fight all 3 at the same time. So what are his options here? Noxious Touch applies poison. So for 2 turns, we'll be taking damage over time. Retribution again and Stone Wall. What's he gonna do? Do 9 damage and knock back. But if we step back, which we can with Fate Shadows, we'll be out of range. So, I think we'll start with that. Draw another card, another step, great. We have 3 action points, so we can use Smoke Bomb. 1, 2, 4. Okay. 27 to go. Let's see if we can get 27 damage. What's he gonna do now? So now he can't attack this tile, so he switched here. If I wanted to be safe, I could just move all the way back and he would have to attack the NPC. But I think we should be able to kill him unless we are very unlucky. Yeah, with this hand we can definitely kill him. So as you can see, we didn't get the last hit bonus for a rogue because he didn't kill anything. But he managed to get the level 3 anyway. And what did we get? Helmet that gives attack of opportunity. Gives +1 max charges, which you don't care about. Yeah, again, this would just make our deck less consistent. So I don't think I want to use it. And I would have to give... Actually, wait, magic... the headgear doesn't have different types. I always think that this is like a heavy armor, but heavy, medium, and light armor is only for chest armor. So anyone can use it. I still don't want it. Take all. A victory for us. Let's head back to the Garrison. Sure. Let's actually, first, let's check that level up. So we want the mastery. Unlock, and now we can master a card. And that's gonna be... You can actually check the mastery versions of everything. Puncture, I don't care, but we'll be removing that. Fate to Shadows, I think we've already seen that one. The unmastered version only allows us to move back in the same line. This one allows us to move back 1 tile to any tile in the back. So this one is much better, but first we want those stabs. Throwing Dagger just deals more base damage. Parry gives more guard, but you'll be getting rid of those. Smoke Bomb is free. It's like potentially useful free cards for the combo that I want to make is relevant, but I think I can get better cards than just something that you throw on the ground and you have to stay there. I'd rather get, I don't know, another throwing dagger instead. And then we have stab. This is the difference. Master, and we want probably 2 more stabs. So far we have 2, I think, and I would like to get to 4, maybe even 5. Because then you get, if you get like 4 of them, then you just get some cards that throw you, that draw you cards, and you just cycle through those stabs almost forever and do incredible damage. What else? Let's return to the Garrison. And talk to Captain Rhetoric. And then we're gonna make a cut here. We got Renown. So this is how we got Renown with these scrolls. They are used automatically for all characters that were in the party when we received it. And this is how you get the starting bonuses when you play like the game again. Excellent work out there, Officer Erin. Head over with some of the reserves to secure the area. Right away, Captain. And now, even as I speak, there are battles being waged on multiple fronts along the outer perimeter of the garrison. A few adventurers like yourself have been dispatched to 2 choke points to hold the line. My resources are stretched thin as it is. I'll need you to head out to support the defense effort. Make sure none of the undead breaks through. Yep, will do. So as you can see, we have a new contract where we can, or contract, no, new quest, where we get our 3rd hero. For now, it's Hunter, but we'll be able to change that later. And on the other side, we can get the Mage. But the plan is, in the end, to add the Druid. I want to test it. It has some nice cards that I would like to try. But that's gonna be next time. We are done with the first episode. It's way too long, much longer than I wanted it to be. I wanted to get through the first quest, wanted to show you basically all the mechanics that are in the game. There isn't that much left anymore. Next time we'll just check how you can roll these nodes, how that works, how you basically generate the difficulty you want to play. Now you can see that we finally see what is there. Just this node doesn't have any modifiers. And that's basically it. Don't think there is much more in the game. But as I said, you can just play the game multiple times. Every time it's actually quite different. The main story is the same, but all the nodes are generated randomly. You can use different decks. Even with the same class, you can build very different decks. So the replayability is pretty good. And as I said, so far I'm really enjoying the game. So I hope you liked as well. I hope that you're gonna join me for the next episode. And until then, have a good time. Bye bye.